Hello and welcome to our second keynote speaker of the Beyond Enough Summer Summit Live. I am beyond honoured to introduce you to the most incredible woman who has been in my orbit for some years now after we met very serendipitously at a Christmas market a few years back. And Azaria is here to talk about her movement, but not just what that is today and what that looks like, but also the 10 years of her journey that led to this moment and led to her alignment and allowed her to step into her power in this way. And so, without any further ado, please welcome Azaria, our keynote speaker.
Hello, thank you so much for that beautiful introduction, Amy. We did meet we'd met online and then we met in person at that Christmas event. So it was just wonderful and we have bonded ever since. So as Amy just introduced me, I am Azaria Lynch and I am the leader of the MILF movement. And that is very exciting to see. The MILF movement is very new. And I'm going to get into what it's about and where it came from and how it all started only just over a month ago in the beautiful, beautiful island of Ibiza. And it, as Amy said, it has been an incredible 10 years of getting to this point. So just a little bit of background about what brought me here before we even go into what the MILF movement actually is. So 10 years ago, I was a brand new mummy to my gorgeous little girl who is now 10. And I very much was on maternity leave. I needed something for me. And I started a mummy blog, which was very 2015. And that is where I got my lead into running my own kind of thing, if you like. It wasn't a business at that point, but it was my own thing. And over the next few years, I continued with the blog. It became actually really quite successful. I was going to PR events in London. I got, loads of freebies to blog about. And eventually I didn't go back to work after maternity leave, which is a whole other story in itself. But I then needed a way to earn money once maternity pay had stopped. And so my wonderful friend Helen, who I still work with today, about 8 years later, she set up her own business and brought me in to do her social media because I had the experience from blogging. So my journey into business started with setting up my own social media management company, which I only stopped doing at the end of 2024. So that has been, my business journey for as long as, I've been in business. And I was working with her. I still do some work for her just now, even though I don't do any work for anyone else in a social media capacity anymore. She was my first client and still is. So we're going to keep that relationship there because it's a very nice one. And over the years, sort of around COVID, things kind of blew up and loads of people wanted training because we were all heading online. And what I found with the women that I worked with were certain things that kept coming up for them. Lack of, it was all their belief, a lack of belief in themselves. They had all these limiting beliefs coming up that, oh, but what I'm putting out on social media is not good enough. Or what if someone turns around and says that I'm wrong about X, Y, and Z? And at that point, when I was training them to do social media, I was showing them physically how to work Instagram or Facebook and going through strategies. Yeah, like everybody is so scared to be visible on social media. And at that point in 2022, I made the decision to train as a transformational life coach. And not so that I could become a life coach, so that I could support my clients, specifically women, to get through all these limiting beliefs and fears, to actually see what was underneath, because it's not the fear of being seen often, it's something else that's underneath. It's not the fear of using social media. Most people know how to use social media, but they're going to tell themselves, oh, well, I don't know how to do that, so I'm not going to do it. And I completed that certification in 2022. I used those coaching skills, and eventually I decided I didn't really want to do as much of the social media management side. It is very time consuming and difficult to kind of, keep clients and things like that. So 2023, I decided to become a social media coach, which would work on marketing and mindset. And as time's kind of gone on over the last couple of years, that once again has evolved because we're always learning, we're always growing. And at the end of last year, I started another certification. I've got my two certificates sitting right behind me. I started another certification to become a money, mindset, and confidence coach. And whilst I have used these skills through my kind of journey in business, what I was finding was I didn't feel settled in what I was doing. So the first sort of 6 months of this year, I gave up all my social media management clients, bar Helen, at the end of last year. And I spent the first 6 months between January and June of this year trying to figure out what my place was and sort of saying, I know I've got the skills. Like, I could sit down and write, am I a business coach? Am I a marketing coach? Am I a life coach? What am I? And that was 6 months of going back and forward and really trying to figure out exactly like who I am and what I'm doing. Yeah, it was absolutely coming back to myself and really trying to figure out where I wanted to sit in this kind of coaching space, where I wanted to sit in my business, how I wanted to be perceived online, how I wanted to be perceived in person. And it's taken me a long time to get here. There's always been kind of pivots and changes. And I think that is normal for anybody. If you've been in business for a long time, you're going to have these things where you train in something new and you want to add to your skills, or actually you don't enjoy what you're doing anymore, which is exactly where I was with the social media management side. I did not enjoy what I was doing anymore. And over these past 10 years, in fact, even probably longer before I had my daughter, I have done some form of personal development. I've been in network marketing before, and that's a big thing for them. So I have learned, where to look for this personal development and really kind of working on my own self and my own limiting beliefs and going really deep in myself. And I have worked with a number of absolutely incredible coaches over the years to really work on me, because it all starts with you. And I think that's something that a lot of people forget when they're in business or when they're doing these things. A lot of it starts with our own internal things. And as a coach, if I'm not working on my own stuff, then how can I help my clients work on theirs, is my belief. So over the past kind of however many years, I have been consistently working on myself. And it's like, I explained this to my husband. I'm like, it's like peeling back an onion. It's not all done in one layer. You've got to go right through till you hit that little bit in the middle of the onion. And I'm not even there. Like, we're still working on it. So where did the MILF movement come from? So this is an incredible story. And the MILF movement came from a misheard word, came from a breakdown, and it came through a breakthrough. And in July, I went out to a retreat in Ibiza, and I left the country, got on that plane out there by myself, 6 a.m, stag do in front of me, and sat on that plane and kind of thought, okay, what am I doing? Okay, like I'm not doing as well in business as I would like. A lot of these other people that I'm going out there to meet are 6, 7 figure business owners. I don't know where I sit, what I actually am. I don't know what my business is anymore. I don't know who I am at the moment. And I got off that plane, met up with two of the women that were on the retreat. We met in the airport because we landed at the same time. And I really felt like I had to put on a performance. And I had to really kind of like, I'm this person, and and that's not what they were expecting. I'd never really spoken to them before, apart from a few, messages on Instagram. And we had lunch, and we were just sitting chatting, and it was, oh, what do one of the ladies asked me, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm a business coach. And she's like, you don't sound so sure about that. And I was like, I'm not, like, I'm not so sure about that. And so off we went to the retreat, we got changed, we had some time in the pool. And then that evening we sat down around this beautiful wooden outdoor table, just like set the scene. And we had our opening ceremony. So we were led through a 2 hour kind of opening ceremony. We were setting our intentions, we did some closed eye work, we really kind of got deep with ourselves. And I wrote my intention of, I'm going to try and make the most of this. I'm, going to be present the whole time, etc. Really surface level intentions, I think. And we did a closed eye process. And I could not even tell you what we did that closed eye process on, what it was about. Right now, like, couldn't even tell you, but I completely broke down. Something triggered me, and I cried so much, like full on was sobbing. No one else was, so I don't think it was particularly an emotional closed eye thing, but that was my breakdown moment. I let myself, because I did try and hold it in, and eventually I was like, fuck this, I'm gonna let it all go. And that was the big emotional release that I clearly needed to be able to step into my next level self. And I think as women and as people, we are mums, not necessarily even mums, but we try and hold it so much in. And when you take yourself out of your normal situation, it's very easy to let yourself go. And that's exactly what I had to do at that point. So I had this big emotional release, and I literally felt lighter, like that. It felt like a whole weight had been lifted off me. One of the women gave me the biggest hug, proper, like, just held me, and I could literally, it was like I could feel it just pulling away from me, whatever it was I was holding on to, that kind of big breakdown moment. And there's a lot of trauma and things that everybody goes through in life, and I've had my own childhood trauma and adult trauma, but there was just something about that moment that was the moment of transformation for me. And that evening we were kind of all just sitting around and chatting away, and I was talking about my kids, and this is where MILF came in. Someone had used the word milky, and Alicia, who led the retreat, she heard the word milfy. And then we were joking. It was like, oh, you're such a MILF. And that is where the MILF movement was born. And obviously, things have moved on from then in terms of what that actually means and what it's about. But I took it and I owned it. Like, though that group of women made me feel sexy, they made me feel seen. And I think that's the main thing, is that I felt seen at that retreat. So that was a Monday. On the Wednesday, we went out for a beautiful dinner at this beautiful beach restaurant. And at the end of our meal, we were all sitting waiting on the minibus to pick us up. And these three women that weren't with us, but were sitting near us, were like, who are you guys? Like, what are you guys doing here? And it's like, oh, we're here on a retreat. And they're like, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm the leader of the MILF movement. And I got the shout, the taxi's here. And I was like, see you later. And like walked off. And that was the moment that I claimed it. And I think for me and for everybody else out there, it's the moment that you claim what it is that you're doing that is the most powerful, and it feels the most embodied. And that's what we all need to do in our lives. Is, before, when I was asked what I did and I said, I'm a business coach, that wasn't embodied because I didn't believe that I was. But that moment that I said, I'm the leader of the MILF movement, I felt that in my soul. Like, that was the defining moment. I got in that minibus to get back to the villa, and I changed my Instagram handle, like, just like that. And then I announced it to everybody on the bus as we were singing Whitney Houston. Like, I've changed my Instagram. And that was the start of the MILF movement. So now that I've kind of gone through exactly what that is, I know it was good at Whitney. It was I want to dance with somebody. And there's a beautiful video of us all singing it, the whole bus. And the taxi driver actually drove round like an extra little bit so that we could continue singing because we were only a couple minutes from the restaurant. It was so funny. But that is like, if you're in a position right now where you don't really know what you're doing or where you're going, like that is absolutely okay because as well as having future visions for the MILF movement and what that actually means, I know that that's going to also take time. And I think it's allowing yourself to have the permission to really take a step back and to look inward and sort of sit with it and to know and have trust and faith in yourself and in the universe and God and whoever that what you're looking for and your thing will come to you. It's not always going to be perfect first time. And that's where the MILF movement is still like being defined right now. We're literally about 5-6 weeks in. It's not, I don't know exactly where this is going to go in a year, 2 years, 3 years time. I have ideas, but we're going to work with it and we're going to move forward. So I know you're all asking yourselves, what exactly is the MILF movement? So the MILF movement really, it's not about being a mum. You do not have to be a mum to be a MILF. Like there is obviously the usual connotations for the acronym MILF. I think a lot of that comes from American Pie. I've had that a lot when I've spoken to people recently. And that is not what we are claiming the term MILF. Absolutely not. I mean, you can, like, my husband calls me a MILF all the time. But what we are using the term MILF for, it's an energy, it's an embodiment, it's a way of being. And what we're looking at, so for me, MILF stands for mindset, identity, leadership, and freedom. And you can use those 4 letters and pop any words that you want into that. But it's all about embodying that energy, working on your mindset, knowing who you are or who you want to become, leading with power and with conviction, and freedom. So that doesn't necessarily need to be being free of anything, but for me, freedom is being free of the chains of limiting beliefs. So that's actually something else that happened when I was in Ibiza during this closed eye process when I had my breakdown, was I had this vision come to me, and for some reason, it was of a man, don't know why, but like a gladiator. And this is very visual, but it was a sort of a male gladiator pulling these chains. And whilst we were doing this visualization, and it wasn't about this at all, but in my head, well, as I was breaking down and sobbing, those chains were breaking. And that is really what that freedom's about. It's about releasing ourselves from societal expectations, the expectations we put on ourselves, the expectations that others put on us as well. So what I am bringing with the MILF movement is really, it's about breaking those chains, obviously. It is about stepping into our main character energy. So everybody is their own main character and their own story. And I kind of think about, myself as, I'm Elle Woods and Legally Blonde, or, I'm whoever and whatever kind of rom-com that I've watched from the early 2000s. There's so many amazing ones. But thinking about, like, I don't want to care what other people think about me, because I want to live in my own lane. I am my own main character. All these side characters that don't matter, like, who are they? So it's all about stepping into that confidence and building that confidence, because it doesn't come overnight. I know there's some days, yesterday I was not confident at all. I was tired, it happens. But really, it's what we're doing is we're working on our mindset. And that is the number one thing. Taking you through that kind of breakdown moment, working on those limiting beliefs, working on your inner thoughts and how your subconscious is working, really kind of peeling back that onion. And that is like, very much the basis of this work. It's peeling back that onion so that you can then go through the breakthrough, and stepping into your next level self. It's about embodying that I'm a badass energy. It's really about owning your own power and really feeling that deep in your soul. It's all fair and well being like, I'm gonna live in my power. And then someone asks you to do something that you don't want to do, and you're like, yeah, okay. That is not standing in your power. If you don't want to do something, you're gonna say no. And if you do want to do something, you're gonna say yes, because that's how we live our lives as a MILF. We are doing ourselves. So I'm going to be taking my clients through what I am going to call, or what I have called, because it's already in the works, the MILF Activation Method. So the MILF Activation Method is a 4-step process. Excuse me. And it takes you through the breakdown. We are going to break you down so we can build you all the way back up to being your most powerful self. We're going to take you through that. We're going to take you through the breakthrough. We are going to give you that confidence. We are going to build that confidence to really step into your power. And you're going to become your most badass self, because why not? Why would we not? And really, my vision for the MILF movement is for it to become something that people just embody into their lives. I don't want someone to look at it and be like, oh, well, it's just, it's like American Pie. They just want to be, wear very little clothing and all this. That is absolutely not what it's about. You can be sexy as you are. There's nothing around that, because I have had some things, do I need to wear skimpy clothing and things like that? No, you do not. But really, it's the energy, and it's the embodiment piece. And I'm going to keep going back to that because it is so true. It's about really taking that time and standing in your power and standing in owning it, actually just owning who you are, because there's nothing wrong with yourself. And that is where I think for me, and coming into this, it's really where the changes have been coming, because I'm sticking up for what I believe in. I am standing here, standing in my power, doing things like this, and really being like, no, I'm here and I've got a voice, and you need to hear it because I've got something worthwhile to say. And I want that for everybody in my world. I want that for everybody that I know, men, women, everybody. And it's really, the MILF movement is about going big. We're going to go big, or we're going to go home. We are going to impact so many people, and I want it to be that ripple effect of going on to, one person shows their power, so that goes on to the next person, into their friendship group, into their children. They're not going to be scared to just be like, here I am, I'm going to walk into this room and I'm going to own it, because really that's a big part of it. It's about owning ourselves and owning our own power. There are so many ways that you can work this into your daily life. My husband will text me, what's your MILF action today? And I'll text him back like a little action. So I have kind of 3 things that I would recommend doing to help you get into your MILF energy. So number 1 is having some sort of physical anchor. So for me, that is my bracelets. I've got one that says millions that I got on the retreat, and I got one to match that says MILF. Those are a physical anchor of that power and of that energy. I can look at that, I can touch it. It's physical. It could be something like a lipstick or a handbag. I've also bought those things where it's that physical anchor of I can look at that and I can pull power from that. So if you've got your favorite lipstick that makes you feel like a badass, and I want you to wear that every day. Like, why not? Why do we keep things just for good? Is kind of, wear your favorite perfume, especially if you need that little confidence boost. Like, have something physical that gets you into that kind of higher energy. And then for non-physical, I don't know what I would how I would word that. But this is your mindset piece. So that could be something as simple as in the morning you write down 3 things that you are grateful for. It could be journaling a whole page on X, Y, and Z. It could be meditating, something that is going to work on your mindset and really kind of bring your energy up. I like to do a little bit of meditation with a song in the morning. So I am not a morning person. So instead of picking up my phone and going straight onto like Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, I go onto Spotify and I pop on a song that just it helps me to wake up. As my husband will tell you, I'm the worst person in the morning, but I need that little bit of time to wake up and I can relax to that. I can really kind of start to feel it in my body. It's one of those, a song that kind of has a bit of a crescendo and goes up so that you can kind of rile yourself up with it. And really kind of get into that moment. Then I do a little bit of journaling. Nothing too crazy because again, not a morning person. I prefer to journal in the evening. But something that will just help you with your mindset. And the third thing that I think really helps to get you into this MILF energy is to do a little bit of movement. So it could be something as easy. I do a few squats. Like literally, I'm like, I'm gonna work on my bum. A few squats, done. It could be a full-on gym routine. But I think having these physical anchors, your kind of mindset moments in the morning and doing something physical, like these are kind of things that get you into that energy. And with that as well, and talking about sort of MILF energy and getting yourself into that space, what I would like for you to do, if you want to take anything kind of away from this talk, is that I want you to treat every day like a new opportunity to step into your MILF energy and your MILF self and have your MILF action. What is that one thing that's going to move you or your business forward? What is that one thing you can do for yourself today that's going to make you feel like a bougie bitch? Like tomorrow for me, that's going and buying my first pumpkin spice latte of the year. Like I told someone I will not be with you tomorrow until I have been and bought my first pumpkin spice latte. That's something for me tomorrow that is going to make me feel like I'm absolutely on fire. Like that is just me. But yeah, like I want you to really do something for yourself every day that's going to make you feel really, really good. So that could be, booking that spa day. It could be taking yourself for a nice bougie coffee. It could be doing your food shopping in Marks and Spencer's or buying yourself something really nice for dinner, getting a steak or whatever. Like something that's going to make you feel elevated. That gets you into that energy, and it doesn't need to be anything crazy. It doesn't need to be anything expensive, but just something that's going to get you into that, embody that energy. Who would you be at your most kind of MILF self? We'll step into it now. And also really just living each day with that kind of thought in the back of your head of how can I be in my most milfy energy today? Because we love the milfy. Oh, I needed a little drink. So really, like, I hope you've enjoyed my story because that's a very shortened time for it. But really, like, the MILF movement is only just starting, it's only just begun, and I am so bloody excited about where it's going to go. Like, there's just nothing else for it. And I'm really excited to see everybody's MILF moments because that's what we're going for.
MILF moments.
MILF
I
moment.
love
We're going
it. Oh
for
my goodness. Thank you so much, Azaria. And do you know what? I was just, as I was listening, just thinking about firstly, how grateful I am that you have come and really opened up and been so authentic about where you are right now. Because
Thank
I
you.
think for so many women, they do feel almost like they have to be 10 steps ahead of where they are
Yeah,
in order to
absolutely.
speak up about where they are in business or what they're doing or what they hope to achieve. I think there's almost this pressure of like where they are isn't good enough.
Yeah,
But you've been an entrepreneur for many, many years and ha seen so much success. But what's actually important is how you feel now. And
yeah,
it's okay to pivot and it's okay to have these moments, these really intense moments of actually, this is what I truly want. And then to just, as you say, in your MILF movement, just to own it
yes.
and to be visible in that energy of where I am right now is exactly where I'm meant to be.
Mhm.
And I can stand in that power every
Yeah.
single day. Anchor yourself. This is something I talk with my clients about all the time.
Mhm.
Anchor yourself in that energy.
Yeah.
Physically remind yourself every single day that actually this is where you're going.
Hmm.
Because at the end of the day, it's all these little things that build success.
Yeah.
It's the little
Yeah.
steps.
The
It's the small
stepping
reminders,
stepping stones, absolutely.
for sure. So thank you so much. Such
Oh,
a
you're so
powerful talk, and thank you again for being a part of our summit and being so vulnerable. And I
yeah,
think
it was very raw,
raw,
especially.
yeah. There's so much power in that though, and I know that there will be so many women listening to this going, I need my pivot. I'm at my breakdown point,
Yeah,
and there's something more beautiful beyond it. Like when
yeah,
that
oh,
happens,
absolutely.
that's when you're going to blossom, and that's when you're going to really start to align
Hmm.
with what's right for you and
Yeah,
your own right path.
yeah. And I think there's something so powerful in sharing the journey as well. Like, yes, it has. I've got this like kind of 10 years before, but there's something so powerful in being like, well, this is brand new, but actually we're going through the journey of building it together. And I think, yeah, it's just standing in it and owning it. I mean, like this is new for me too, but I'm here and I'm owning it. Like
Yeah, and
as
that's
it can be
community.
purpose. Hmm.
Yeah, that's community. Let's stand in it together.
Yes.
100%.
What's your MILF action for today?
Oh gosh, I'm gonna do a hot girl walk. I'm gonna get a coffee. I'm gonna do a hot girl walk because I don't want to be
Yes.
on the screen all day, even though these talks are so
So juicy.
incredible. I could sit here all day, but I'm gonna make sure I do a hot girl walk with my coffee. That's my MILF action of the day.
I love it. That is a good one. I need to go and get a walk. I'm walking.
Yes. And when you're watching this session back on replay, or if you're here live, you can come and tell Zaria and I on Instagram what your MILF action of the day
Yes.
is. We'd love to hear it.
Yep. Your MILF moment, your MILF action, like let's absolutely like rock this because the MILF movement is not going anywhere. And I'm gonna have everybody having their MILF action.
They're MILF, yeah, I love that. Daily MILF actions.
MILF action.
I love it. Amazing. Thank you so, so
You're
much.
so
Thank you
welcome.
to everyone for joining in and for watching on replay. I will link all of Azaria's information for you so that you can go and partake
Mhm.
in your MILF action of the day. And we will speak to you all in our next live keynote.
Yes. Thank you so much, Amy.
You're so welcome. Amazing.